children well, their fathers held.
Thank you so much. If you're a fan of photography, you know exactly who I'm sitting with right now. Paul Burwell, welcome to the show. It's such a treat to have you here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Now, you're a photographer and have some quite famous work out there. And the great thing is you're helping us to take better pictures as well.
I'm going to give it a shot, definitely.
Excellent, excellent. Now, there's actually a Share Your Travel Experiences sort of, would you say it's a program or a contest going on right now? Can you tell us about it?
It's a contest. It's put on by travelocity.ca. They're a full-service online travel agency, and they've got a contest going for Canadians to enter their vacation pictures.
Okay.
They can go to travelexperiences.ca and submit their photographs, and there's a bunch of different prizes you can win.
Now, we all think that our travel photographs are just the best, most fabulous, exciting thing, but not everybody feels the same way. I mean, there's always the joke about, come on over and see my slideshow sort of thing. But from a different standpoint, you look at it and say, okay, this is what makes a technically good photograph and an interesting photograph. What are some of the common mistakes that we make?
Some of the common mistakes I see, I looked through a bunch of, there's over 2,100 pictures right now on the travelexperiences.ca site that people have submitted.
Wow.
And there's a lot of great photos, but some of the ones I see maybe with a few technical problems are the horizons aren't quite straight. They're shooting down at the subject.
Okay.
And maybe they're just not as sharp as they could be.
We were just taking a look at the website right there, and you've brought in some examples where you can sort of show us where the mistakes are made and how very easily we can fix it. Here's the first one right here. Beautiful shot, I think.
Right, this is a shot of downtown Edmonton, but if you look at it, it's kind of got the leansies. It's going off to the one side. And that's something that you can fix really easily in the software that comes with almost all digital cameras today.
So that was this is the leaning picture right
That's
here.
right, yeah.
And the one we were just looking at. So this is the leaning picture, and if we can just show the first picture. There we go.
Yeah, there, you can see it's nice and straight and level, and nothing's going to fall over.
Because it is a little distracting. I mean, that's an example that obviously as a professional catches your attention right away. I might look at the leany picture and say, my gosh, it's a great picture. But you're right. You get that one chance, that one moment to really capture the moment.
Absolutely.
Don't you want to do the best job at it? Let's see your next example then. So what's going on here?
Well, this is just an example of a photograph where instead of just walking up to a scene and just snapping the first thing you see, you want to think about it. In this photo, there's a lot of symmetry going on.
Right.
So everything is balanced the way it should be.
Okay. So this is an example then of a picture that really works.
Right, exactly.
It's beautiful. I mean, I think if you saw that, you would just say absolutely right away, gorgeous. And how about this?
Well, this is really an example of something I think people really need to consider with, especially their digital photographs. That's when you've got a set of photographs that you're happy with and you want to keep. You want to make sure that you find a way to archive them. Get them off the memory card in your camera, get them onto your computer, and then remember that all computers crash, so have a backup of those photos. Because it's not like the old days with negatives where you could keep them in a shoebox and they'd be fine in 100 years.
Right.
So you really got to give that some consideration.
Well, a lot of people out there, I mean, there's always the digital, I know in audio, the digital analog battle as well. And, a lot of people say, I like working with film. I like the physical, the physicality of having the print afterwards. How has photography really changed in this digital age?
Well, it makes it a lot easier to experiment. Before, when you had the film, you had to really consider each shot because you'd have a cost associated with it in your head every time you click the shutter. But now you can experiment, and there's really no cost other than your time.
Yeah. And you know now how it turns out as well. You can have maybe the family shot, and you can look and immediately say, well, Aunt Susan has her eyes closed.
That's right, exactly. You get instant feedback. You get a chance to fix your mistakes instead of waiting for it to come back from being developed.
Okay, we've got another picture here as well.
This is another example of something that I see on the travelexperiences.ca site is that people are sometimes afraid to use their flash outdoors. And when you've got a situation where your subject is backlit, the light's coming from behind the subject. If you just pop up your flash, you can light up your subject, and then you get a balance of light between the bright background
Right.
and what would normally be the dark subject.
You know, Paul, that's an interesting point, because I wouldn't consider that I would need to use, I mean, on a very gloomy day perhaps, but I wouldn't consider that I'd need to use my flash outside. But I have seen those pictures where sort of the subject's a little dark and it's got the halo around it.
Exactly.
Sometimes that's a neat artsy
Exactly,
effect. But
if that's what you're going for. But a lot of times it's just the way the camera looks at the scene. It isn't smart enough to know that you want Aunt Betsy to be the subject and to have her in good light. It just looks at the whole scene, and it makes poor Aunt Betsy dark.
Exactly. Well, Paul, we're going to take a quick break, but we've got some more of his pictures and some more tips how you can take the best travel pictures possible and how you can enter your beauties into contests with some great prizing involved as well. Quick break, more with that in just a second. Back with Paul Burwell right now, and he is a renowned photographer who's helping us right now to learn how we can take a better picture. You've got a couple more examples of photos that you brought in as well.
Definitely.
Okay, let's check those out. Wow.
This is an example of a photograph when you've just got to be able to be ready to shoot quick and get a good sharp picture. Driving down a country road in a heavy rainstorm, the sun comes out for a second and you get a nice rainbow.
Yeah.
So one of the problems I see with people getting sharp pictures is a lot of times they kind of stab at the shutter button. They're kind of poking it like, hey, wake up, camera.
Yeah.
When really, to get a sharp picture, you really want to try squeezing that shutter button.
So holding it down.
Yeah, really
Really?
just squeeze it instead of jabbing at it. You're going to get a lot sharper pictures.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay. That's a great point. Oh, look at this.
This is just an example of when you get a photo that's kind of special to you or captures a great moment. I really, really encourage people to print their photos. In this digital age, it's too easy to just keep them in the computer or on a memory card. And when you got a picture you really like, print it.
Yeah. That's a great one. I brought in a couple of my vacation photos as well, so that for you to critique, because some of them, you think you have the moment, and then it really, when you get the picture later, it's not right. So I'll hold this up for Jason, and you can tell me what I would have done differently. This was Dunluce Castle in Ireland. It didn't come out quite the way I saw it at the time.
Right. This is an example of a time where it pays to get to know the features of your camera.
Okay.
A lot of times in a picture like this, the camera's confused by the bright sky.
Right.
And so it's creating the picture based on how bright the sky is. But almost all cameras have features where you can adjust for that. And then that could have brought out the buildings a lot more.
Okay.
And then, of course, it's not quite level either.
Yes, no, it definitely is not. Okay, the next one, well, no one will believe this, but in Trafalgar Square, there are a lot of birds. I used to have a bird fear. I don't anymore because I held a parrot. But this clearly, when you see the end of the result of this picture, it's not balanced. There's a lot wrong with it.
Yeah, the guardrail in front of the person is pretty distracting. And then for me too, it's the building leaning off to the one side makes me concerned for the safety of anyone around there.
Absolutely, and there's just too much going on, and too many
it's very busy.
with the post there, and then lined up straight through the middle. It's almost too centered too,
Exactly,
isn't it?
yeah.
Okay, and that's kind of an example here in this picture as well, Lake Louise.
Yeah, this one's a bit centered. The thing that catches my eye first, though, is it's kind of awkward the way the subjects are cut off at the knees.
Yeah.
Looks almost painful.
That's what happens when you grab a random tourist and ask them to take your picture.
That's right.
So be very careful, cognizant of the bigger picture as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, think about what you're trying to achieve.
Okay. What's the number one mistake that you think we make?
Probably the number one mistake people make is not knowing how to get a sharp picture.
Okay.
People are afraid to use supports like tripods. And again, it comes down to learning to squeeze that shutter button instead of poking it.
That's a great tip, and I'm certainly going to try that the next time I'm taking some pictures, because I do believe I'm guilty of that. Now, you're here today to tell us about this contest as well, so we'll let everyone have the information as to where they can submit your travel experiences photography. Travelexperiences.ca. Paul
right.
Burwell, of course, is your website as well, and there's a lot of great information there. Outdoorphotographycanada.com.
Right.
All great resources.
Right. That's a magazine I'm a columnist for. There's great
right
tips
here.
on the website, and it's a great magazine. Really encourage people to enter the travelexperiences.ca contest. It's open to all Canadians. The contest runs until September 10th. You can enter as many times as you'd like.
And the grand prize?
Grand prize is a trip to Vegas.
Isn't that fabulous?
Yeah.
For pictures that we're just taking anyway.
That's right.
Thank you, Paul, so much for being here today. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, it's nice meeting you.
We're going to go back out now. Bridget Ryan is standing by, and she's down at the Fringe Festival. Hey, Bridge.
Hello.